Thank you, Mr. President. I, as well, am very thankful for the opportunity to serve the school this year in this capacity, so I appreciate all of you, and Karen, you will be deeply missed, and I look forward to starting the next year. With that, I would like to cover the financials for April 2025, which is the 10th month of our fiscal year. So our target for the annual budget is 83.3%. The full financials are on the board packet, and I will start on page 16 with the school financials. There you will see West Campus, our elementary, had year-to-date revenues of $6.053 million. That's 71% of the budget, which is a little under because we're still going to be booking some local revenue monies that will come in with fundraising in June. They'll be booked. So the June financials will be covered at the August board meeting. So we'll see those changes by then. Expenditures year-to-date were $6.966 million, 81.9%, so that's great that that's under. And the net income less the purchase of the dirt lot is $290,000 for the year, so that's great. Middle school revenues are at $4.21 million, 77.2%, and expenditures $3.908 million, 71.7%. That's great, again, to be in the 70s for expenditures in April. And the net income for middle school was $302,000. High school revenues are at $2.009 million. That is 85.2%, so slightly over. And expenditures are $2.011 million. That's 85.3%. So again, under our target, or actually it is still a little bit high. I'm sorry. Our target's 83.3, but it's flattening out, and that was elevated from the purchase of the modulars. The net income for high school is $173,000 less the purchase of that modular. So the total income for all three schools, taking out the modular and lot purchase, is $765,000, which is fantastic. We're really excited to have all three schools showing profit for the year. In the summary of general funds, which can be found on page 3, you'll notice that the beginning balance is for the bank. Again, I always explain this just to make it clear that the bank balance is positive, but whenever we have all of the outstanding checks that run through our system, integrity balance showing in our system was negative because we had some outstanding checks. So the beginning balance is negative 144, ending balance is negative 271 because we had a lot of things getting paid out in April. And the run rate for the revenues is 83.9%, and year-to-date 73.8%. And the run rate for expenditures was 81.8%, and year-to-date is 78.9%. So again, with that target of 83%, that's great. And we're hoping we don't have any other major expenses before the end of the year. Looking on page 7 is our preschool fund. The beginning balance was $109,000, and ending balance is $105,000. The run rate for the revenues was 90.4%, and year-to-date is 82.3%, so that looks great. The run rate expenditures were 108% month-to-date, and that is slightly elevated from that change of pay schedule for our hourly employees going from 12 months to 10 months. And the run rate for the expenditures is 98.9%. Year-to-date income for preschool is $423, and so it's running a little slim, and we still have a couple months to go, so we're hoping to see how that works out. There may be a loss for preschool for the year, so we're just keeping an eye on it. Facility Corp Fund 52 2014 bonds for West Campus can be found on page 9, and the beginning balance for the bank at BOK Bank was $1.568 million. Ending balance was $1.439 because we made a payment for the West Campus bonds in April. So we had an interest payment and a bond principal payment in October, and then we just only had to pay the interest in April. That was $221,000 payment. So the interest we made on that bond was, for that account, was $4,884, and we had a month-to-date loss because of the payment of $129,000. Foundation Corp Fund 53 is the 2019 bonds for East Campus. Those can be found on page 10. The beginning balance in UMB Bank for the month was $1.791 million, and ending balance was $1.950. The run rate for the revenues is 85.7% year-to-date, and expenditures is 38.2% year-to-date. The reason why that is so low for the year, being at this point in the year, is because we still have an upcoming principal and interest payment that will be made in June. So the month-to-date gain was $159,000. We had $6,464 in interest, and we made the $704,000 interest payment in December. The payment in June will be principal and interest, as I mentioned. So $704 for interest and $425 for principal. So it's a big payment. And that'll have that run rate for the expenditures will be more flattened out by the end of the year. Student Activity Fund, Fund 23, is on page 14. This manages our schools, clubs, and activities. Beginning balance was $132,000. Ending balance is $137,000. The run rate for the revenues was 53.4% and expenditures 49.6%. And as I've explained before, this is kind of money in, money out. So the fact that there were slightly more revenue than expenditures is great. Any questions on the numbers before I move into a little summary update? Okay, great. So the most exciting news that we have right now is that we received 4 of the 5 quarters of our ERTC funds, and those have been deposited and shifted over to Colorado Trust. Glenn created an account just for those ERTC funds, and so they're sitting in there, and we're super excited about it. It was about $1.5 million. He's going to go over that a little bit more detail when I finish up. And then we also, I just wanted to note that we did receive all of our regular monthly funds from the district in April. So we got the PPR, the MLO, capital construction, all of that. And the MLO was a large amount for April, and it will be for the last few months of the year. So that was great. You guys approved the budget and on May 29th special session, so working towards getting that uploaded into the system. And we were in touch with Integrity Bank and found out that our money market there is actually earning a little bit more interest than the Colorado Trust. And so we're working on setting up a bank account, a separate money market account that we can transfer the ERTC funds over. Money market is at 4.6% and Colorado Trust is at 4.3%. So every little bit helps. And we also got the award letter for the facility grant, and so we can submit for those funds. So we're looking forward to that. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. So the authorized signatures for the bank is just a resolution to remove Glenn Gustafson from a bank signer. Glenn has done a phenomenal job teaching me all the ropes with the financing and how to move the funds around to maximize interest income. And with his proposed contract for next year, this is part of the duties I'll be taking over, and so he is signing off of the bank account. So I have a resolution here for you to potentially sign in order to complete this task at the Integrity Bank. That is correct. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. So we work with Hub for our insurance policies, and our renewals always come up around this time of year. Wright Insurance was working with Mr. Dykes and came back to let us know, and from what I understand from Mr. Gustafson, this is happening with many carriers and across the board as far as the commercial lines go. So the hail coverage for our school went from a $25,000 deductible to a 5% deductible. And I passed out, it's small print, I apologize, but I passed out the chart showing what that would be. So 5% deductible for West Campus alone would be $941,000. East Campus would be $1.07 million. So a total deductible would go from $25,000 to over $2 million. With that being said, they are offering a buy down of that percentage. If we would buy down to 3%, that would be a cost of $53,627, and it would take our total deductible down to $1.2 million. It's a savings in deductible of $800,000. If we would buy down to 2%, it would cost us $86,547. It would lower our total deductible to $806,000, which is a $1.2 million savings in deductible. And so I wanted to bring this information to you and share it with you in hopes to have some guidance on this decision.
Thank you, Ms. Poland. I have a couple questions. When was the last time Monument Academy filed a Hill claim?
I've been here 3 years, but I'm not aware of any. Are you? No.
So in essence, we're paying potentially on the 3% buy down $53,000 to insure $800,000, and on the 2% buy down paying $86,000 to insure $1.2 million.
That is correct.
Another question I would have, what could we potentially exclude, understanding our roof is a rubber membrane?
That is a question we'd have to go back and ask. They didn't break down separate pieces of like hail damage. So I'd be happy to go back and work with Jake on that.
I have done obviously zero work on this, and I am not trying to throw a wrench in this, but this is to me absurd.
I understand.
Not coming from you, but from the insurance carriers. And maybe that's just the way things are moving. I know in the state of Colorado right now, this is applying to everyone on their deductibles, but this seems pretty significant. So I have no idea how the board's going to respond to this, but I would encourage the board to consider that we do a bit more due diligence to understand what potentially could be excluded. Looking back also, there would be some type of clue report that they could provide on when the last time we had a wind or hail event that affected both campuses or even just one campus. And with those exclusions, I'm just looking at the particulars of the rubber membrane on the roof. Obviously, we have HVAC units up there. We've got different elements that would be impacted.
Another thing I was thinking is, Mr. Van Chattel, if we could have someone give us an idea of the condition of our roofs now. I don't know what type of condition we have both for this newer campus and for West. That might be helpful in understanding if it's worth doing any type of buy down.
Noted.
And I know that time is of the essence. You need a decision on this by the end of this fiscal school year, correct?
Yeah, we would need to renew here soon.
Yeah. Honestly, for the potential savings to the school, I would be open to having a virtual special meeting for this one particular item to take action on. I don't want to encumber the board with additional duties, but this is a pretty significant amount of money. Would the board be open to a special virtual meeting at a time called when Mr. Pinchatto and Mrs. Poland have further information? Yeah. And if we come back to the table and this is what we have, then we're going to have to make a decision. But I would like to know in the last 20 plus years, how many claims have we had? Okay. All right. So we will lay this over until then. Mrs. Poland, thank you for providing the detailed breakdown. Please know that the absurdity that I see has nothing to do with our side of things. So
Thank you very much.
all right, moving along to letter H, contract agreement with Elevate Education. Mr. Vinciato, we shall yield to you.
Yep, Elevate Education is the company that's works with, or is Janyse Skalla, and she for the liaison for the homeschool aspect of it. Last year, with the amount of students that were projected, her contract fell under the threshold that I could make that decision. This year, with the increased amount of students, it goes over that threshold, so that would make it a board decision.
Board, has everyone had an opportunity to review this proposal? Right, then I will motion that we approve the scope of work, a partnership between Monument Academy and Janyse Skalla, Elevate Education, for the dates of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Ms. Clinton has seconded the motion. Any discussion, board? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Vinciato, for providing this. That will move us to letter I, leadership curriculum. We will yield to you, Mr. Vinciato.
Yeah, leadership curriculum. We put it out for a 3-week review on Assembly, communicated that on Parent Square. We had 0 responses for feedback.
Thank you, Mr. Vinciato. And you need us to take action on this tonight?
Yes, please.
I motion to approve the high school leadership course curriculum as recommended by the East Curriculum Committee.
Second.
Ms. Clinton has made the motion for approval. Ms. Hoyda has seconded that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That motion carries unanimously. Next will be letter J, Colorado History Curriculum.
This was also presented for a 3-week review from parents. The book was hosted in the library. There was no feedback provided on the book.
I motion to approve the high school Colorado history course curriculum as recommended by the East Curriculum Committee.
Second.
Ms. Clinton has motion for approval. Ms. Hoyda has seconded. Any discussion, board? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote? Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That motion carries unanimously. Moving to letter K, Monument Academy Student Handbook for 25-26. Mr. Vinchattel.
Yes, so the was presented at the last meeting. It's a combined handbook now, where the different campuses, if there's differentiating information, is colored differently, but this will eliminate the issue of having contradictory content in the handbooks. So we will have one between both campuses. I was asked to be sent to legal, which was done. They came back with one piece of feedback, which was a policy, which is a policy that we can't waive out of with the district, so we just put the district's policy in the handbook.
Thank you for providing that to legal to receive their guidance and input. I will entertain a motion for adoption.
I motion to approve the Monument Academy Student Handbook for 2025-2026 as presented.
Second.
Ms. Clinton has a motion for the approval. Ms. Hoyda has seconded. Any discussion on the handbook, board? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to letter L, Staff Handbook Edition, Workplace Bullying. Mr. Vinchattel.
Yep, so this was also pushed forward to legal. They came back and made some changes from not being so specific in certain areas, and provided some definitions in there for us.
So I move that we adopt the addition to the staff handbook to include workplace bullying.
Ms. Hoyda has motion for the adoption. Mr. Carley has seconded that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That motion carries unanimously. Moving to letter M, Athletic Handbook for middle school and high school.
Yeah, so we once again wanted to make our handbooks align, as well as kind of dress it up and make it more formal in the presentation of the handbooks. Now, when these handbooks were drawn up, policy JBA was not in play yet. Now that that policy's been improved, I would ask this to be a first read so that we can go back and put policy JBA into the handbooks for the next meeting so that everything has alignment.
Excellent. Very much agree with you on that, Mr. Vinchattel. Board, any objections to laying this over until the next meeting to give Mr. Vinchattel and governance time to review this with the update to policy JBA? All right. Terrific. Moving on to letter N, July regular board meeting and board retreat date. Ms. Clinton.
Okay, so when we first approved the meeting dates before, we didn't all maybe have our summer schedules, but it appears that we're going to need to shift our July regular board meeting date as well as the retreat. And I am proposing that we hold our board retreat, which would be is an all-day kind of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. type retreat on July 15th. And then hold our regular July board meeting the evening of July 17th at 6:30.
With the board retreat, do you need to approve funds for me to set up for lunch and all of that?
Did you just make a motion or you're just
In the past,
presenting?
I was just presenting, but I can make a motion. And then I think in the past we've
500 would be delightful.
Hold up real quick on
Sure.
that motion. The dates again, July.
Tuesday, July 15th and Thursday, July 17th.
What time on the 15th?
It would be. Traditionally, we've done about 9 to 3 p.m.
And where would that be hosted?
That is to be determined. It's always been very nice to be at the conference room with the Platinum Group, but we could look at having it here as well, but that has not been determined yet.
Assuming, Mr. Vinchatto, we could use this venue if we needed to?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can ask if the 15th from 9 to 3 is available. No commitment, though.
Yeah.
Is there any objections to that date? Okay, and the next date for the regular board meeting?
Would be July 17th at 6:30 p.m.
Any objections to that date, board, moving our regular meeting to the 17th of July? Okay. Ms. Clinton, if you would like to make a motion for both of those dates along with the approval for the 500.
I motion that we approve holding our annual board retreat on July 15th during the day from 9 to 3 p.m. or whatever hours we need, and regular July board meeting on July 17th, 6:30 p.m., as well as approve up to $500 for Mr. Vinchatto to provide some lunch.
Ms. Clinton has made the motion. Mr. Carley has seconded that motion. Any discussion on these dates, board? Hearing none. Mr. Carley, how do you vote, sir? Aye. Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. That carries. That will move us to letter O. I will motion that we adjourn to executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4E for negotiations regarding contracted financial services.
Second.
Ms. Hoyt has seconded the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Carley? Aye. Ms. Clinton?
Aye.
Ms. Hoyda?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ryan Graham votes aye. We are adjourned to executive session. This will likely not take too long if you guys want to stick around, but don't feel obligated. You guys buy crypto at all? You buy
We do.
crypto?
Yeah.
In the 2 hours of this meeting. Really? Iran and Israel are at war.
But they're saying we aren't involved.
What's that?
I just saw Rubio saying, do not retaliate against it's not us, so it's Israel. We aren't involved, is what he said.
It's going to impact our financial markets, though, significantly.
Israel.
Israel.
Iran.
The shot.
Israel struck nuclear facilities.
Well, we've been in the meeting.
Yeah.
What? Yep. Dang. Here I am reading policies.
Oh, I was getting alerts on my phone.
Yeah, me too.
Mr. Jake, are we good to go? All right, welcome back, everyone. We have adjourned from executive session. We are back in open session at 7:55 p.m. There is no action coming out of executive session. Board, do we have any comments or announcements? Hearing none. Any new business? We've already discussed for our special meeting. Then we are adjourned, and I will notate there are no citizen comments not pertaining to agenda items. We are dismissed at 7:55. Thank you.